William now assumes the Scottish titles which have meant so much to me.
Sacred nature of kingship.
So, Your Royal Highness, if you put the stole over the King's head.
The whole United Kingdom is in shock. King Charles has unexpectedly crowned Prince William as the new king. This announcement has left the royal family and the public speechless, and everyone is scrambling to understand what could have led to such a sudden and historic decision. Speculation is running wild about what really went on behind the palace doors. Did a secret crisis push Charles to step aside? Or is there a carefully planned reason for this jaw-dropping royal twist? We're digging deep to uncover the full story, including the shocking announcement, the rare precedent of abdication, and the lifelong vows of duty that come with the crown. When rumours first surfaced that King Charles might one day step down for Prince William, many dismissed them as just another royal rumour. But attention spiked dramatically when Paul Burrell, Princess Diana's former royal butler, made a bold statement that stunned the public. Burrell claimed that King Charles has a 10-year plan to hand over the throne to his eldest son. He didn't say it casually. His words hinted at a carefully considered royal strategy. According to Burrell, Charles and Queen Camilla never intended to emulate Queen Elizabeth II's lifetime reign. Instead, they supposedly planned that once Charles reached his mid-80s, he would make way for William to guide the monarchy into a new era of modern leadership. At first, the idea sounded almost impossible. Queen Elizabeth's lifetime of service remains fresh in everyone's minds, and the thought of a British monarch voluntarily stepping down is almost unimaginable. But the conversation began gaining momentum when observers linked Burrell's claims to trends in European royal families. In recent years, several monarchs have abdicated early, passing their crowns to younger heirs, rather than ruling until their final days. A standout example is Queen Margrethe II of Denmark, who abdicated in January 2024. Her decision was hailed as a forward-thinking, modern move, a way to keep the monarchy vibrant and connected to younger generations. This trend has fueled speculation that King Charles might be considering a similar path to ensure the British monarchy stays relevant in the 21st century. Burrell didn't stop there. He also suggested that Charles could follow a path similar to his father, Prince Philip, who gradually retired from public duties after decades of service. Burrell painted Charles as a bridge between the old and the new, a monarch who would serve, steady the crown, and then pass the responsibility to his son while still alive to witness the next chapter unfold. For some, this idea sounded perfectly reasonable, especially given Charles's forward-thinking nature. But for many, it felt unsettling because abdication in Britain carries a heavy historical shadow that few can ignore. To understand why this prediction caused such a strong reaction, we must look back at the only modern example of a British monarch stepping down, King Edward VIII. In 1936, his abdication shook the very foundation of the monarchy and left a mark that still influences how the royal family is seen today. Edward's decision wasn't about age or health, it was all about love. He wanted to marry Wallis Simpson, an American divorcee, which at the time was completely unacceptable for a king who also served as head of the Church of England. His personal desires collided violently with royal duty, and in the end, duty lost. The choice sparked scandal, gossip, and debates that echoed across the entire nation. When Edward signed the instrument of abdication, he gave up far more than just a title. He handed over the stability of the monarchy itself. The aftermath was chaotic, a national crisis that left the government and Commonwealth scrambling. Every branch of the British administration had to give approval before the abdication became official, making it one of the most complicated and tense transitions in royal history. Leaders across the globe saw it as a constitutional earthquake, a moment that tested the very strength and unity of the monarchy. For many in that generation, it felt like betrayal. The king had broken a sacred promise to serve for life, leaving a wound of distrust that the royal family spent decades trying to heal. Public opinion was fractured, and the headlines were relentless, marking a scandal that haunted the crown for years. Historians often point to King George VI, Edward's younger brother, as the reason the monarchy survived this crisis. He stepped up at a critical moment, restoring an image of strength, humility, and devoted service that the people desperately needed to see. His reign restored dignity to the crown and paved the way for Queen Elizabeth II's remarkable legacy, which would define the modern British monarchy for generations. Because of that turbulent chapter, the word abdication became loaded with fear, shame, and almost a sense of forbidden failure within the British royal system. It was no longer seen as a practical step, but as a moral misstep. Over time, the monarchy rebuilt itself around a single principle: the vow of lifelong service. Queen Elizabeth embodied this ideal completely from the moment she gave her iconic speech at 21, pledging to serve her people for the rest of her life. And she never wavered. Even as she grew older, with fewer public appearances, she refused to hand over her crown. That unwavering devotion restored respect for the royal family worldwide and became the standard by which every future monarch would be judged. So when predictions like Burrell's surfaced, they hit deep into the hearts of the public. People weren't just wondering if Charles would follow a private plan. They were questioning if he could truly match the example set by his mother. Charles's reign was already unique, ascending the throne at an age when most people think about slowing down. Yet he has repeatedly shown that his sense of duty is not about comfort or convenience. His speeches, appearances, and choices make it clear. He views the crown not as a personal privilege, but as a lifelong responsibility demanding service until the very end. And while other European monarchies have begun treating abdication as a natural part of succession, the British monarchy still sees it as a serious, almost sacred decision that carries a weight unlike any other. Abdication in Britain is far more than just passing the crown. It's a move that strikes at the heart of national identity. The entire British constitution revolves around the monarch as a continuous symbol of stability, someone who never steps aside because the unity of the country depends on that unbroken presence. In the case of Edward VIII, the lessons were painfully clear and too costly to forget. His abdication forced Parliament and the Commonwealth to rethink how power and duty should coexist. Even countries like Ireland saw how such a moment could redefine their constitutional ties with the crown, setting a precedent that echoed for generations. The shockwaves of 1936 didn't just reshape the monarchy, they also influenced how former dominions approached independence and governance later on. That is why even mentioning the idea of King Charles stepping down today immediately stirs memories of that turbulent time. Yet the modern world moves to a different rhythm, one of constant scrutiny and relentless media attention. Today, the royal family lives under the unblinking eyes of social media, public debate, and global attention. Every choice, every word, every appearance is dissected endlessly. So when predictions like Burrell's surface, they don't remain gossip. They ignite serious discussion. Questions arise. Is it time for the monarchy to evolve? Or should it cling to centuries of tradition that have kept it steady through storms? Personal legacy also drives these conversations. King Charles has spent nearly his entire life preparing for this role. He waited longer than any heir in British history to ascend the throne. And though his reign is still young, it has already been defined by his efforts to modernize traditions while safeguarding their core essence. Charles has openly talked about creating a monarchy that is smaller, more efficient, and closer to the people. For someone so devoted to public service, the idea of walking away after just 10 years seems to contradict everything he has worked toward. Yet Burrell's notion of a 10-year plan reflects how the public tries to understand the monarchy through practical modern lenses. Many speculate that with the king's age and health under constant observation, a planned transition might make sense. But constitutional experts are quick to point out that no such legal framework exists. Stepping down would require an entirely new process involving Parliament and the Commonwealth realms, just like in 1936. That would reopen old wounds and bring back uncertainty the monarchy has worked so hard to move past. What people often forget is that abdication isn't merely personal. It is a national decision. A monarch cannot retire like an ordinary public servant. The role is embedded in constitutional continuity. Every act of government, from parliament meetings to court rulings, operates under the authority of the crown. If the king were to step down, it would demand rewriting crucial parts of this structure, something no one is eager to attempt again. While Burrell's claims sparked plenty of debate, they also reminded everyone how deeply symbolic the British crown truly is. A king's duty isn't measured in years, but in unwavering devotion. The crown isn't just a golden ornament passed from one head to another. It embodies a history that has survived wars, crises, and centuries of monumental change. Every monarch who wears it carries the enormous weight of that legacy. For Charles, it's also a personal mission to uphold the constancy and selfless service his mother embodied. The so-called 10-year plan sounds less like a royal strategy and more like the speculation of outsiders. Stay tuned as we dig deeper into this story and uncover the main reason behind the rumours, a king's promise and duty that go far beyond any gossip. When King Charles spoke at his coronation in May 2023, it was crystal clear. This was not a man preparing to hand over his crown anytime soon. Every word, every gesture, every vow reflected a profound understanding of the promise he was making, not just to his family, but to the nation and the Commonwealth that looked to him as their sovereign. The coronation was more than a dazzling ceremony of jewels and tradition. It was a bold declaration of commitment, publicly binding him to a lifetime of duty. During the service, Charles swore an oath before God and his people, promising to govern the United Kingdom and his other realms according to their laws and customs. He also vowed to preserve the Protestant Reformed religion and the settlement of the Church of England. These weren't hollow words, they were sacred commitments. In that moment, he accepted the same lifelong responsibility that had guided his late mother for 70 years. This vow wasn't something that could be shortened, adjusted, or abandoned after a decade. It was a promise that would last as long as he lived. Many forget that the British monarchy isn't built on personal choice, but on sacred duty. Once a monarch takes the coronation oath, stepping down would defy the very foundation of that pledge. Those who truly understand the depth and meaning of the coronation knew instantly that the prediction about Charles abdicating simply did not fit the man or the moment. From his earliest speeches as Prince of Wales to his coronation addresses, King Charles has always seen leadership as a form of service. He once stated that true freedom is found in serving others, not seeking personal comfort, a principle that has guided him throughout his life. Before the crown was placed on his head, he offered a private prayer, asking for God's grace to help him find perfect freedom in service. It was one of the most moving moments of the ceremony because it revealed the type of king he intended to be, one who leads not for himself, but for the good of the people. His devotion echoes the strength and example of Queen Elizabeth, who built her reign on the same principle: service, not self-service, to the royal family. Duty isn't a job that ends at retirement. It's a lifelong calling. Anyone waiting for King Charles to hint at abdication was met with silence, not because he was avoiding the question, but because his actions spoke louder than words. He kept taking on public duties, hosting state visits, and attending major international events despite the growing chatter about a so-called 10-year plan. Then, at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, he delivered a line that seemed to put the rumour to rest. He said, "I can assure you today that for however many years God grants me, I will join you and the people of the Commonwealth on every step of this journey." That single sentence carried immense weight. It wasn't just an ordinary remark. It was a direct message to anyone talking about abdication. For however long God grants me life, my reign will continue, just like his mother's did. His promise isn't measured by a timeline or plan. It's guided by faith and lifelong duty, the two things that have always defined the British crown. When people close to the royal household were asked about these rumours, they dismissed them immediately. Grant Harold, who once served as King Charles's butler, was one of the first to speak up. He said abdication simply isn't in the king's nature. Charles's sense of duty runs far too deep. Harold explained that the king's outlook mirrors his mother's, a promise to serve until his final breath. Within the royal world, that's not symbolic talk. It's a serious truth. The king continues his work no matter his age, and stepping down is never considered unless a severe crisis arises. But the monarchy has already prepared for such situations in a much smarter way, making abdication unnecessary, even during illness or aging. The British Constitution includes a structure called the Councillors of State, which allows senior royals to temporarily act on the monarch's behalf if he cannot perform his duties. Currently, those councillors include Queen Camilla, Prince William, Princess Anne, and Prince Edward. They can handle formal matters, sign documents, and represent the crown in official functions whenever needed. This system ensures stability while allowing the monarch to remain the symbolic and constitutional heart of the nation without giving up the throne. That means if King Charles faces health challenges or other limitations, the crown would still function smoothly. Others can assist in carrying the workload, but the sovereign remains in place. It's a quiet yet powerful safeguard, one that has existed for decades and was even used during Queen Elizabeth's later years. So when talk of abdication surfaces and speculation spreads that the king might step down due to age or illness, the truth is clear. The monarchy already has a plan that preserves continuity. His role as sovereign remains intact, and while trusted family members help ensure the work continues, this system is one of the strongest parts of Britain's unwritten constitution, keeping the monarchy running without chaos. For generations, no matter how strong the monarchy's structure is, the rumours keep coming back, and most of them focus on one thing: the king's age. At 76, Charles has joked that the bits don't work so well after 70. While meant to be light-hearted, the comment gave the media yet another reason to speculate about his future. Some took it as a hint that he might slow down or even consider retirement in the coming years. But those who know him say the opposite is true. Royal experts point out that King Charles's energy and dedication remain as steady as ever. He continues to attend engagements across the UK, hold critical meetings, and represent Britain on the global stage without faltering. For him, these moments aren't burdens, they're privileges. His daily schedule is packed with duties that would exhaust people half his age, yet he sees each one as an opportunity to serve. Even his health comments were not signs of retreat, but honesty, a recognition of being human and aware of his age while still giving his absolute best. Of course, not everyone fully agrees. A few royal commentators, including author Phil Dampier, have suggested that abdication could only be considered in the most extreme case, perhaps if the king's health were to decline significantly. Even they admit it would be a last resort, not a planned or expected move. In other words, abdication would only happen if absolutely necessary. This approach highlights just how different the British monarchy is from its European counterparts. In countries like the Netherlands or Denmark, abdication is now normal and even celebrated as part of modern royal tradition. But in Britain, the crown is viewed through a moral and sacred lens. Abdication isn't a choice, it's a disruption to the divine and constitutional order. That's why Edward VIII's story still echoes today. Every monarch since has understood that stepping down isn't just about personal health or convenience, it's about breaking a sacred bond between the monarch, God, and the people. King Charles has carried that understanding with him for decades as heir. He watched his mother uphold her promise with unwavering dedication, never once hinting at stepping away, even during the hardest days of her reign. That example shaped him profoundly, teaching that service isn't measured by comfort or ease, but by endurance and devotion in every word, gesture, and action. Since his accession, Charles has shown he intends to carry the same principle. But here's the most intriguing part. Navigating a modern reign comes with unique challenges. When King Charles III ascended the throne, the world watched closely, not just because he had waited longer than any heir in British history, but because his reign came at a moment when the monarchy itself was under scrutiny. People wondered what kind of king he would be, and whether he could balance centuries of tradition with the expectations of a modern world. For Charles, the crown is more than inheritance. It's a responsibility that demands careful reimagining. And from the very first days of his reign, that is exactly what he began doing, leading with duty, vision, and a respect for the sacred legacy he now carries. One of the most striking things about King Charles has always been his vision for a modern monarchy. Long before he became king, even back in the 1990s, he frequently spoke about making the royal family smaller and more efficient. He wanted it to stand for value, not excess. That's where the idea of a slimmed-down monarchy first took root. Charles believed that with fewer working royals and a stronger focus on the direct line of succession, the public would see their money being spent wisely. and the monarchy would stay relevant in changing times. But when he finally ascended the throne, this vision began to take shape under unexpected circumstances. The departures of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, combined with the scandals surrounding Prince Andrew, had already reduced the number of active royals. What had once been a careful, deliberate plan suddenly became a reality born out of necessity. It wasn't a smooth transition, it was a forced adaptation. Some experts even began calling it a skeleton monarchy because the core group carrying out royal duties had become so small. Still, Charles didn't panic. He saw this moment as a test of resilience and a chance to reshape the monarchy's image. Efficiency and transparency became his focus. Every royal engagement, every public event had to carry meaning and purpose. And when he appointed Prince William and Princess Catherine as the Prince and Princess of Wales shortly after taking the throne, it sent a clear signal. The monarchy's future was being carefully prepared. This wasn't about erasing tradition. It was about adapting it. Yet, with fewer senior royals available, the workload increased dramatically for the remaining members, like Queen Camilla, Princess Anne, and Prince William. Every appearance counted even more because the spotlight was narrower than ever. Despite these pressures, Charles managed to maintain stability. He represented continuity while quietly reshaping how the monarchy operates behind the scenes. And this wasn't new for him. He had been preparing his whole life to lead with purpose. Long before becoming king, Charles was deeply involved in causes that mattered to ordinary people, making his story unique among monarchs. His reign isn't built on sudden changes, but on decades of advocacy and commitment. In 1976, he founded what became one of the UK's most impactful charities, the Prince's Trust, now known as the King's Trust. It began humbly with just £7,400 from his Navy severance pay. His goal was simple but powerful: to help young people struggling to find jobs, homes, or purpose. He wanted to give them hope and opportunities that society often denied. Over the years, this initiative grew far beyond what anyone could have imagined. Today, the King's Trust has helped more than 1 million young people across the UK. It offers training, mentorship, and funding for those aiming to start small businesses or gain new skills. The charity has produced countless success stories, from entrepreneurs to artists, all people who once thought their futures were limited. Charles has always believed that potential exists in everyone. It just needs guidance and opportunity to shine. But his vision didn't stop at Britain's borders. Over time, the King's Trust expanded globally, opening branches in over 20 countries. It became a symbol of how compassion and leadership can spark lasting change across the world. When it was renamed in 2024 to the King's Trust, it wasn't just a rebranding, it was a continuation of a mission he began nearly 50 years earlier. That same dedication to purpose is visible in his lifelong passion for the environment. Long before climate change and sustainability became household terms, Charles was already warning about pollution, deforestation, and overconsumption. People once mocked him for talking to plants and championing organic farming, but history has proven just how ahead of his time he truly was. Now, as king, he's often called the Sustainability King, a title that fits perfectly. His reign continues to highlight the importance of protecting nature and building a greener future. Under his guidance, royal estates like Highgrove and Sandringham have become models of sustainable agriculture and conservation. Through countless speeches and initiatives, he has encouraged businesses and governments to think long-term rather than chase short-term profit. But even with these achievements, Charles's reign hasn't been without challenges. His health has recently sparked public concern, especially following his cancer diagnosis. Yet despite this, the king has shown remarkable strength and commitment. He continues to carry out engagements whenever possible, and when he cannot, he relies on trusted family members like Queen Camilla and Prince William. Supporting all of this is the Councillors of State system, allowing designated royals to perform duties on the monarch's behalf if he is temporarily unwell or travelling abroad. This ensures continuity, without requiring abdication or drastic changes. It's a reminder that the monarchy, while traditional, has built-in structures to adapt to any situation. Through all these adjustments, one trait remains constant: perseverance. Charles's life has always been about patience and long preparation, and now his reign reflects that same calm strength. He doesn't chase popularity or dramatic reforms. Instead, he seeks balance and sustainability, both in his causes and the institution he leads. He often speaks publicly about service, but those who know him say his sense of duty runs even deeper. He sees his position not as a privilege, but as a calling. And while some speculate about abdication or early retirement, his actions show the opposite. He's building for the future, for his son William, for his grandchildren, and for the institution that has shaped British identity for over 1,000 years. What makes his reign particularly compelling is how personal it feels. Unlike past monarchs who kept a strict distance, Charles shows his human side. He's candid about aging, jokes about his own flaws, and speaks with genuine warmth about the people he meets. That authenticity connects with a generation that doesn't automatically respect authority, but responds to sincerity. It's also what sets his story apart from his mother's. Queen Elizabeth II reigned through duty and tradition, and while Charles honours that legacy, he does it in his own way, through conversation, compassion and inclusion. His Earthshot Prize, launched in 2020, embodies a global mission, finding and funding innovative solutions to environmental challenges, exactly the issues Charles once championed through speeches and letters. Today, William carries that same torch through partnerships and worldwide recognition. The method may have changed, but the message remains the same. The planet needs protection, and leadership must set the example. That shared drive is also visible in William's domestic work. His Homeward initiative directly tackles homelessness, a cause close to both father and son. Charles's charitable work through the King's Trust has long focused on empowering disadvantaged youth, and William continues that legacy, adapting it for a new generation. He blends compassion with strategy and innovation, showing that the monarchy is not just a symbol, but a living institution that should lead by example. So what do you think? Would King Charles ever truly step down for Prince William, or is his sense of duty simply too strong to allow it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more exclusive royal insights. Click the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.